What is the funniest interruption you've had during sex? Was mid having sex and my dad, who is blind, walks in, not realizing what we were doing and immediately starts complaining about Boris Johnson. Cold nose of a golden retriever in my ass. The guy I was seeing and I were in a hotel room. We were enjoying the alone time when the room phone started ringing. We ignored it. So I am on top of him, everything is great, when I vaguely hear the sound of knocking. It doesn't really register until the fucking door opens and a maintenance guy walks in. I yelp and grab my BF's shoulders and pull him up to me to cover myself up. Maintenance guy is totally unfazed, just I'm here to fix the shower. BF and I in unison tell him to leave, he seems surprised, but walks out. All the while mumbling he just needed to fix the shower. I've never forgotten the safety latch in a hotel room again. While being intimate, I asked her, "Do you know how cute you are?" She said no. Without thinking, I blurted out, "Well, make a rough estimate." It launched her into a 10-minute laugh flash. His roommate was gone for the weekend, and the roommate had a cat and dog. We closed the door, but Kitty had learned how to open doors, so while we were in the middle of it, he barged in and started smacking my partner. I think the noises were scaring him. Or he thought we were playing. We had a brief intermission to remove the cat, and we gave him lots of cuddles afterwards. She was on top humping me while I'm sucking her breasts. She then hugged me tightly. I could not breathe because her breast was blocking my nose and my mouth. I tapped out like an MMA fighter. I could have died. Good times, lol. Going at it in the dark in the kitchen at 2 a.m., confident that the kids are sleeping tight upstairs. Blinding light, all of a sudden, we see our 10-year-old by the door, hands still on the light switch, frozen. Luckily we were sitting, the kitchen table between us, and so the bits were pretty much concealed. After 2 seconds of awkward silence, he just said, candidly and joyously, "Are you trying to make another little brother?" Having sex in my college dorm room. Had come back late and roommate was in his bed on other side of room but thought we could be quiet. Didn't work out. Girl was loud. Get so far and she yells, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming," and my roommate hops out of bed and says, I'm going, I'm going, I'm going," and walks out. He saw the funny side as well, happily, so no bad feelings. With my ex, first time having sex, we were alone at her house, decided to slap ass with her on top, put all of my full force into it. Missed her ass cheek, slapped myself in the balls so hard I couldn't see for 45 seconds. I still laugh about it to this day. My partner and I had an hour before friends came over. So we decided to get intimate. In the middle we had a knock on our bedroom door. So we threw something over us and went to look for our friend. No one was in the house. Weird, but we thought maybe it was the mailman knocking on our front door. We get back into it and sure enough it happened again. We were convinced our friends were playing a joke. Mood all lost. Called them up, they were all at home. We started thinking maybe it was a ghost or something. Well, it turns out when my dog gets really excited she waits outside the door and wags her tail so hard it sounds like knocking. My then GF and I were going at it on her couch, her on top, riding me super casual style. The TV was on and whatever we were originally watching ended and some kind of cooking show had come on instead. Apparently, a host named George was whipping up something good, because his excitable blonde co-host kept shouting, "George, oh, George. You're so good at this, George." As if on cue, we both picked up the pace, both of us excitedly yelling, "George, ooh, George," and laughing until the end. Good times. Pretty sure we used George until the end of that relationship. Have a remote in my room that you can use to change the speed of a ceiling fan and the brightness of the light. Lost the remote in the covers and made the light keep flickering, and then the bulb blew out. The lady and I are going at it real deal romantic style, talking big time sexy love stuff, that real juicy bedtime business. About 15 minutes in, my very drunk, very tripping roommate knocks loudly and immediately enters into the middle of the room with a shit-eating grin and very proudly says, "My guy, I have full-on pooped my pants," offers me an enthusiastic high five, which I obviously reciprocated regardless of being actually inside my then GF now fiancé, walks out and closes the door. We tried to continue but just had to laugh it out for like a half hour before we could finish. My wife and I found out the lock on the bedroom door in our new house didn't work the hard way when our 4-year-old daughter walked right in during full-on doggy style. I panicked and told her we were baking a cake. She asked why we were naked and I explained we didn't want to get our clothes messy. She also asked why we were making it in our bedroom and I told her we were trying to make it a surprise, so I had to go out and buy a cake because she kept asking when it would be ready and she told our son about it. She then proceeded to tell my mother-in-law that mommy and daddy made a surprise cake for her. I really hope she didn't include more details in the story to grandma, but I'm afraid she probably did. Not funny for me, but my partner still chuckles at this. When my partner and I were younger, in our late teens, fooling around in my bedroom like teens do, but today my parents were home. Things got pretty steamy, which led us to the horizontal tango. My partner takes the lead during the tango and gets on top of me under the covers. I hear a knock on the door, panic sets in. Panic not only set in for me but my partner, who goes into full opossum mode and essentially fake dies on top of me as my mother opens the door to ask us if we're going to come have dinner. All my mother sees is my head poking out from under the sheets whilst my partner lays comatose on top of me like a human weighted blanket. I tell her yes, we'll be there soon, once he wakes up. To this day he still opossums during sex if we're interrupted. The day after we got married, my new husband and I were getting busy when the phone rang. It was my Mill, who hated me. I answered and she asked me if she was interrupting anything. I said, "Yes you are, I'm making a man out of your son." And I heard a gasp and hung up the phone. My wife was S and my D and I was nearly there. I was standing and she was sitting on a short stool next to the bed. Our 12-year-old cat was sleeping pretty much right next to us on the bed and had been the whole time. Everything is going great and I say something about it. Just then, our old cat lets out this deep, vigorous, and almost theatrical sigh, as if she was getting her old cat dick sucked too, and it was wonderful. But it also almost sounded like she was mocking us. My wife and I pretended not to notice for a second or two, but it didn't work at all and we both started cracking up. I was worried that the moment was lost, but she powered through while she was laughing. Some combination of the muscle contractions, shock, and the absurdity of it all pushed me over the edge and I came almost as hard as our cat sounded like she did from her napgasm only 30 seconds earlier. It was crazy. Top 5 easily. But the timing and intensity of it all was a surprise to both of us, and soon my wife was coughing and sticky and laughing, and I was laughing at her laughing and at the cat and also apologizing and then coughing too, and then we're both coughing and laughing hysterically and trying to catch our breath, and this fucking cat is all the way asleep again like nothing ever happened. After a few minutes, when it all settled back down, we agreed that it was one of the funniest things that's ever happened and lamented that it's not the kind of story that you share with your friends, or our friends at least. But here I am on the internet, I guess.